Have you ever just stood and looked at a really old tree and wondered, what stories it could tell if it could talk? Well, it turns out they're telling us stories all the time. Trees are these incredible living archives of history. They're like silent meteorologists recording centuries of our planet's climate with just stunning precision. So let's dive in and figure out how to read these amazing natural diaries. I mean, that quote just nails it, doesn't it? It really captures the magic of what we're about to explore. Trees don't just put up with the weather. They absorb it, they internalize it, etching every single drought, every big storm, and every change of season right into their very being. Okay, so most of us know the basics, right? You can tell how old a tree is by counting its rings. But honestly, that's just chapter one. That's just scratching the surface of a much deeper, way more detailed story that's written in the wood itself. And the science behind all this has a name, of course. It's called dendrochronology. It's the foundational technique that lets us unlock this arboreal library and read the history of our planet's environment, year by year. This slide really breaks down the two levels of a tree's memory. On the left, you've got the basics we all learned in school. Wide rings mean a good year, lots of water and sun. Thin rings mean a tough year, probably a drought. But look over on the right. That's where the real secret is. By looking at the microanatomy, the actual structure of the cells that move water around, scientists can tell not just if a drought happened, but exactly how bad it was. It's the difference between a headline and the full, detailed article. But believe it or not, the story goes even deeper. Beyond just the physical structure, trees are also expert chemists. They're writing this whole parallel diary using invisible ink, these chemical signatures that get locked permanently into the wood. And the ink for this chemical diary, it's made of stable isotopes, specifically of carbon and oxygen. Now, these are just slightly different versions of the same element. They have a different weight. And the tree uses this tiny difference to record incredibly subtle changes in the environment. So, how does this actually work? Well, it's this brilliant four-step process. When a tree gets stressed out by heat or drought, it closes these tiny little pores on its leaves to stop water from escaping. It's just trying to survive. But that simple act of self-preservation changes the ratio of carbon isotopes it's pulling in from the air. And that new, unique chemical signature gets locked into the wood that's being formed right at that moment. It creates a permanent, readable memory of that specific drought. So clever. Now, oxygen isotopes, they tell a different, but just as fascinating story. You can think of them as a kind of geographic tracer. By analyzing them, scientists can actually pinpoint where the water that the tree drank came from. Was it local rain? Was it snowmelt from a mountain far away? This lets them reconstruct ancient monsoon patterns, even track El Niño cycles, all from the chemical memory tucked away inside a tree. It's just wild. Trees don't just remember the weather, though. They also remember trauma. Every major disturbance, every single brush with disaster, it leaves a physical mark. And that mark tells a story of survival and even adaptation. And it makes total sense when you think about it, right? A scar from a forest fire or some damage from an insect plague gets sealed inside the tree's growth rings. And because each ring is a specific year, scientists can create a perfectly dated timeline of these big events. They can literally reconstruct centuries of a region's ecological history. It's like a calendar of disasters. But what's crucial here is that trees don't just record trauma, they learn from it. There's this concept called stress priming. After a tree survives a major stress, like a really bad drought, it actually reconfigures its own internal biology. It changes its hormonal pathways, it strengthens its water transport system. It's basically preparing itself to handle that same stress better if it ever happens again. It's a true biological memory. Okay, but get this. The memory doesn't just die with the tree. Incredibly, this isn't just a memory for one tree's lifetime. Through something called epigenetic changes, a parent tree that survived a harsh environment can pass that resilience down to its kids through its seeds. It literally gives the next generation a biological head start, pre-programmed to better survive the same challenges its parent faced. That just blows my mind. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. When you take the memories from thousands of trees, living ones, dead ones, and you piece them all together, you move from the story of a single tree to the history of our entire planet. By studying ancient bristlecone pines, which are some of the oldest living things on Earth, scientists have built a continuous year-by-year climate record stretching back 10,000 years. Just let that sink in. 10,000 years. That's a history that predates most of human civilization. And this timeline really puts that achievement into perspective. Look at how long we've had tree records compared to our own instruments. Widespread, reliable weather records, they only go back to about 1880. Before that, we are almost completely reliant on natural archives like these trees to understand our planet's long-term climate patterns. They are our most vital witnesses.
And they remember so much more than just weather. Their chemistry has recorded the steady rise in atmospheric CO2, those spikes in industrial pollution, even the chemical signature of volcanic eruptions that changed global temperatures. They've even captured traces of radioactive elements from nuclear testing in the 20th century.
This might be one of the most incredible examples. Back in the years 774 to 775, a massive solar storm blasted the Earth. It created this huge spike in radioactive carbon-14 in the atmosphere. And trees all over the world absorbed it and recorded it in their rings for that exact year. This one cosmic event created a perfect time marker, letting scientists sync up tree ring records from Europe to Japan with absolute precision. Amazing. So, after centuries of recording the planet's natural rhythms, the memories being formed right now in the outermost rings of trees living today are telling a very different and pretty urgent new story. So what are they telling us? Well, all around the world, the signals are clear and they're concerning. Up in the Great Boreal Forests, growth is actually slowing down because it's getting too warm. In the Mediterranean, trees are creating denser wood, which is a defense mechanism against constant drought. And in temperate forests, scientists are finding evidence of widespread hydraulic failure. That means the tree's internal plumbing is literally breaking down under extreme heat. You know, when you really think about it, trees are not just passive bystanders. They're active participants, and they are meticulous record keepers. Their memories aren't just a cool look into the past, they are one of our most critical tools for understanding what's happening right now and for forecasting our future. For thousands of years, these living archives have been so patiently recording the story of our world. Now, they're sending us clear warnings about our collective future. The only question is, are we listening?